Watch me now. Watch me now. Watch me now.
Effectively, no, it has to try to come apart. Peepo! He's just watching.
I just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.
For another week of the XP Esports Women's League Cthulhu. It's been a bit of a break. I've been off the last three. I'm finally back here, ready to go. How are we feeling coming into tonight?
Look, honestly, quite excited for the Women's League continuation here. We're already, Proto and Spadum. Yes, this is us, Proto and Spadum, coming at you live. But look,
there we go.
keen for yet another week of bangers from Women's League. And look, for the majority of it, the kind of leaderboard ended up staying for the most of it kind of top heavy, but there's still some volatility to the standings, apart from Warriors' performance so far.
Well, let's have a quick look back at the format, of course, and how this whole thing works. The XP Esports Women's League coming into this season, it's largely the same. 8 teams kicking things off, 7 weeks of single round robin best of ones, leading all the way through the playoffs.
Absolutely, yeah. Plenty still of time to really play it out. And, well, once we do get to the actual playoffs, it is going to be an absolute demolition derby, because BO3s all across the board. And, it will promise us quite a good kind of indication for a fair few teams as to how will they fare in the endurance run, rather than just the normal standard, well accustomed to BO1 setup, where you kind of play off just a singular map and then call it a day. So a few teams that may have scored themselves some good positions during the regular season could be feeling quite comfortable in the BO1, but once it comes down to BO3, well, you'll definitely need to put in the extra bit of effort. Season teams, though, that have joined us, we do have Big Brain Esports, Vertex, Volpes, Radical Rebels, Warriors, Triarai, Benchwarmers, and Altered Edge. So a few familiar names, but some of the newer players and rosters as well being assembled for this season.
Yeah, look, we got to see a pretty decent scope of what each of these teams are bringing, but it's about the prize pool at the end of the day. What is up for grabs at the end of the stage? Of course, it's money. It's not just bragging rights. These teams are competing for that prize at the end of the whole competition. And, well, it's no small chunk of change either, Cthulhu. It is a good $3,000, $1,500 for first, second gets $1,000, third, $500, and fourth. Look, they're not walking away empty-handed, so if you at least make it to the playoffs, you're getting something.
Yeah, you're guaranteed at least some sort of a prize there to keep yourself, at least to a certain degree, content with the whatever outcome does come about. But yeah, look, plenty of incentive, plenty of bragging rights as well on the table there for the taking. So plenty of opportunities for each one of the rosters to really battle it out. But so far, kind of the big running whole topic has been the championship of Warriors from the previous season, and whether they will be able to defend that title going into this one. So far, they've been able to do this rather in a very rather dominating fashion, but whether they can keep up the pace during the actual playoffs, now that is going to be a whole different question, but a question nonetheless, though, that we will be asking ourselves very much later down the line.
And of course, you can't forget, it's not just this prize pool available. Each week we have our weekly best play. Teams can compete for that spot as well. Weekly best play will get themselves an awesome R6 chibi as well, so make sure you're posting up the clips, you're giving us the highlights, everything along the way. Look, I mean, there are a number of highly impactful players in this league that have had some highlight moments. I mean, you think of names like Crips T, Budafari. There's just an immense amount of talent in this competition. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see another close race for this weekly best moment this week as well.
100%. Yeah, look, we've had quite a fair few submissions actually for last week's performance, so wouldn't be surprised if tonight we'll have an even bigger abundance of the highlights. And look, honestly, just prime time to get yourself involved in the community, in the plays, in just general in the league as well.
And of course, our matchups for this evening, the week two, well, not week two, my week two, I think, at the moment, because I've been off for so long, it's unfortunate. But we're here in week 5. So yeah, actually, the last time I was involved was week 2, Cthulhu. It's unfortunate, but COVID and timings and all the rest of it. But here we go. Match 1 on broadcast, Benchwarmers versus, I believe it's Altered Edge, actually, not Volpez. They are playing Warriors at the end of the evening. Off broadcast, Big Brain Esports will be taken on Radical Rebels, and Triari will be versing up against Vertex. And I do believe those are being played on our alternate channels B and C, respectively. But Cthulhu, Benchwarmers versus Altered Edge first, Warriors versus Volpez second. Either of these two sticking out to you?
Honestly, I'm probably thinking that the Benchwarmers versus AE could be the closer one. Given the fact that, look, for AE, it's been a bit of a shaky run overall, and seeing as how things were not particularly initially looking too favorable for the both rosters, as a matter of fact, well, now it's their time to finally keep up their own push, keep up their own agenda, and look, very much curious who will actually come out the victor here, because from AE and Benchwarmers, we've seen a number of rather problematic setups, but one would hope that obviously they would have things really all set up and rolling, but here we are. As a matter of fact, let's have straight away a peek at one of our rosters to dig in straight off the bat on some of those players. Now, Benchwarmers representing is El, Ravenna, Luxy, Kira, and Weasel, with Meg, Heart Explodes, and Corvise being the subs. The roster that kind of ended up forming itself from a number of players from quite a few teams from back in the previous seasons.
Yeah, look, I mean, you look at Death's Not Elle. She's an incredibly capable player in this roster. Ravenna as well. So they do have some talent taking the field today. Luxy, I'm less familiar with, but I know the name's Kira, Weasel as well. And having the likes of Meg 101, Corvus, and Heart Explodes on the bench, there is a lot of support coming in this team. But their opponents tonight, of course, Altered Edge, going to be trying to deny that victory away from them. And look, they're no slouches in their own right. Queen AFK, Barrett, Universal, Stormy, and Kylix, I would imagine is how it's pronounced. Again, I've been off for a couple of weeks. I'm recovering. Be nice. But Altered Edge, it's a well-known org in the region.
Absolutely. A roster that has a few bumpy plays and a few newest introductions into the play in general. But yes, also you are correct that announced Kylix, so pretty much nailed it. But look, Kylix Universal, I believe one of the more recent introductions to the Women's League, with Barry and Queen AFK coming in for the play. But look, overall, they've shown some promises, but again, quite a lot of things need to be touched up upon. But they have managed to procure quite a fair few good performances throughout the last several weeks.
And as we look to the battlefield as well, we need to figure out where we will be playing our first match of the day. The map Vito's coming on through. Cthulhu, look, we had a bit of a pre-peek at this one, you and I. We know this map well. We've seen a lot of it. I'm not going to flame anyone for going to this map, but I would like to see more creativity in the coming weeks. Oregon is a bit stale at the moment.
Oregon. Ugh. Who likes Oregon anyways at this point, honestly? The map has been so overstratted through the absolute roof that it's a map that didn't really change, and neither did the meta around it really change. So once again, back to basics, back to the absolute just bare bones performances. And look, I mean, for the maps like Benchwarmers and AE, it's for the better, actually, as a matter of fact. Just get back to basics, make sure that you're just nailing your attacks, nailing your defenses, and from there on you kind of go for gold. Also, I just realized, I think my headset was flipped. Hello.
Unlucky, unfortunate. But I mean, we almost got water. We almost got Chalet. We go to Oregon. It is going to be a good showing grounds for both these teams as well. So at least we know that we're not going to get anything too crazy, too wild in the grand scheme of things. It should be, just back to basics.
Yeah, Back to basics, indeed it is. For benchwarmers, though, this is the beginning on the attack, so a much more difficult side. Well, arguably a much more difficult side on this map. Albeit, though, say some of the leagues like Challenger League has shown us that the attacking side on Oregon does get quite spicy if you do hit just the right tempo there.
Well, as we look to get on into the map, Cthulhu, Oregon on the cards, Benchwarmers on the attack, Altered Edge starting off with the defense. Is that any indicator that either of these two teams might struggle to start off?
I'd say well, all I'm going to say is I will be very much surprised that if AE will hit Struggle Town on the defense, given that Oregon does kind of, to a certain degree, lean a little bit more into the defensive side, albeit with the way how recently some of the teams were shaping up, especially in some of the higher echelon play. We have started to see a little bit higher lean towards the attack, but that's mostly due to the fact that it's more of a kind of immediate play on top of the information that was gained from the drone. So if one of the teams will be able to here perform kind of a similar turnout, well, we could be seeing them very much skyrocket their points count.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into a defense for Oregon as well. So, I mean, we got to see a great showcase of it from the Warriors earlier on the stage. I remember casting that match and just seeing like some of the best impact tricking I think I've seen in this competition as well. KT, an excellent impact tricker on the defense. So it's going to be great to see more of that coming through. I'm expecting, that level of play to be coming through. And Altered Edge, do you imagine that, they're starting off on the defense? Is this a case of they're going to get the boost they need to start things off and then close it out in the second half? Or is it a case of bench warmers, they just weather the storm and then look to close things out cleanly on their defense?
It will definitely depend on the first 2 to 3 rounds as to just how will the general kind of pacing of it all will feel. If bench warmers proceed to do kind of what quite a number of teams just throughout different leagues do tend to happen to themselves, which is just you enter the house really, really, really rapidly, but then stall out right as you're about to make an entry into the site, then Altered Edge will have all the control they need. But if benchwarmers somehow decide to turn it all up to the maximum and just full send to site with some of the vertical plays, say with Buck from below, I definitely think benchwarmers would have a really solid chance at just weathering the storm on the attack and then absolutely smashing it out once they get to go on the defense. But again, first 3 rounds is probably where till which point I'll reserve my judgment.
Well, we are just waiting on confirmation that we're about to jump on things, but I imagine it's not going to be too far away. We just got one player trying to get in, but I mean, look, with the changes, with everything coming through, I'll put this question to you. We got our next operator just around the corner, Azami, in isolation at the moment. How much does she change a map like Oregon when she gets released into comp play?
Heavily, and I'm very excited to for the moment that Azami finally is out from the quarantine, because her appearance will reshape the way how even the defense could be played, and I definitely think that she would be one of those almost a must pick on a number of the maps, because the way how she allows to have some of the more reinforced positions, the way how flexible she is with those the throwing knives as well, with the way how you can literally just patch up some of the breaching holes as well. There's a number of things that you can do, and the overall loadout is just absolutely phenomenal. So definitely she will have the. I would. Hello, my internet decides to not. Hello, yes, I am back.
We still got you.
Still got me. So that's good. In a similar vein, change the meta. I definitely think Azami is about as bigger of an impact.
I mean, look, I'm keen to see it once she does make it on through. And speaking of making it on through, we're just still waiting on our last player to get in before we get this underway. But looks like Cthulhu he's back again. We look.
Yes, I was just restarting the call.
Not just our observer having internet issues. Nutter is infected every other computer as well. But I mean, look, there's only so much to talk about. But I mean, it's Oregon. It's a stand. We saw last night, and you and I were casting again together there. We didn't get to see much of the first floor bomb sites. Do you reckon that changes tonight with the Women's League?
We could actually no, with Women's League I reckon we are going to be going through a much more thorough rotation of the sites. I don't think that players will really end up sticking around too heavily on one or the other side. So I'm 100% thinking that we are just going to go no matter what rotation. The top floor, then laundry, then either the kitchen dining or kitchen meeting kind of debate. I still are just up to the preference of how you can play, because both of the sites require you to have a very thorough vertical presence, and once you do lose that, it tends to get rather hectic, especially for, well, on the side of the kitchen dining. It's the kitchen side that gets very hectic. On the side of kitchen meeting, well, you lose out basically the whole control of meeting the moment you give up the hatch. So a lot of strategy needs to be put, and a lot of mind will need to be put to be able to hold on to that tertiary side.
Well, we have confirmation it's going to take a little bit longer than we initially thought to get into the matchup. So we'll throw it to a quick break. When we jump back into things, it'll be Benchwarmers taking on Altered Edge over in Oregon. We'll see you soon. All right, we're coming back into it. Now, unfortunately, due to being unable to field a full 5-man team, Benchwarmers will be playing this as a 4v5 Cthulhu. So they're going to stick it out. They're going to try anyway. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Going into the op ban phase here, are we going to see anything crazy, do you reckon?
Well, already from the get-go, I mean, we do get to see the Maverick Bandit. The ban on a map like Oregon almost feels like a bit of a blast from the past, given that, look, a Maverick ban was a viable option back in the early days, I think, of almost last year, where it was almost a necessity because, well, usually it will be Maverick and Thatcher to be banned out, given those were the only two that could really get through all of the, breach denial. And, well, with Maverick out of the equation, well, Thatcher's still on board. Jackal has been banned out, knowing how flexible and how annoying he is to deal with. Well, it seems like with him out of the equation, it will be a little bit more difficult to get rid of the, I suppose you could call them the... not the Flying Quatch, the Roam Clears, and, well, Capcan and Mira to wrap up the ban phase. Definitely a much more controversial than the usual ban phase does come about between Benchwarmers and Altered Edge. So, look, we might be seeing a little bit of spice, but very interested as to why the ban on Capcan did came through, given that it is one of those operators that, look, you can make him work, but not on a frequent and a mained kind of pick.
I mean, honestly, you'd almost wonder if that's something that you'd want going into your second half, playing a man down. A Capcan would be almost invaluable, you'd reckon.
Maybe. Look, I mean, certain utility could be big. Again, context would be very much necessary, really, for especially these two teams, given that we've seen quite a few different setups in regards to the ops as well. Both rosters have been experimenting rather thoroughly in the way how they want to play, how they want to, perform.
Yep.
And look, quite curious to see what is actually going to be the end result. So far, I mean, on the side of BW, relatively overall standard kind of lineup, including the Thatcher, so only a singular Heart Breacher, given the fact that, well, only so many operators they can bring with a 4-man roster. So, I mean, still a stable, still able to frag roster from all 4 of the players of Benchwarmers on the side of Altered Edge. Pretty much just covering all the bases, including even the Frost Traps.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, I think a 4 versus 5 probably hinders you a little bit more on the defense than I would say it does on the attack. You can still just rely on your frag abilities to just swing and find kills. But this Frost setup is already rather interesting out of Berry.
Indeed, well, so far, It's a bit of a combo for the Storm. Ravenna might try to find some sort of an opener through the window, and Barry will be trying to contest that long-range angle, but unfortunately not for long. Well, fortunately for her, not very fortunate for Ravenna, as she would have probably wanted to make sure that the condition is there in her favor and get that early frag as quickly as possible to make the play count much more even. But as it stands, at least the opener into the walk-in closet is there. But Stormy has a really nice pixel angle, albeit more so comes the question is how quickly will she be able to utilize this pixel angle?
Obviously, some info being heard there in terms of footsteps, and Stormy's just going to ping it out, say there's someone over my side of the building, there's someone coming up through trophy, ideally. Hopefully that's going to be fed through. But it's the attic hole that is starting to contest. Queen AFK, in fact, shut down. Proper Weasel equalizes the playing field.
Yeah, the take through the armory stairs pretty much opened up a huge avenue with a double kill for Proper Weasel. But off sight, Barry did manage to claim the frag onto Ravenna. So we back to a 3v3, so a much more even now ground. Now it's time to actually go in for the push towards the site. Only 2 players currently are playing as anchors, so plenty of the positions that could be really introduced here. With Luxie about to make a push through the opener and rotation into the kid's bedroom, this could actually be a really good pincer maneuver from Benchwarmers.
The deficit might not nearly be as impactful as it was thought to be moments ago. Proper just tucks in by that pit door. Looking for the plant. Luxie walks in, finds Universal and kids as well. Kylik shut down. A third for Proper Weasel on the site. This 4v5 looking all but irrelevant. Oh, that's a kill and a half. Barry finds one from the top wide. L on the plant. Luxie there as well, trying to provide the coverage. And all of a sudden, it's Altered Edge playing from a deficit.
Yeah, Altered Edge kind of had a bit of a rough start, but so far Barry's been putting in the hard yards, at least within the context of this very first round. Does spot the Claymore, doesn't want to really run into it too early. Spots Luxie, but again, the shot's just not connecting. Push will need to be very swift if she wants to have at least some sort of an element of surprise, but already awaited at that swing, and Luxie already has the sights trained to that position. Very nicely done, as well the F2 will be ringing the conclusion of round 1.
A big start for the Benchwarmers, especially given the state they find themselves in. Down 1, but they still find the opener, ironically enough. Cthulhu, they do take it. We are going to be heading back to dorms, and I did say this is the power of being, unrestricted on the attack. It's not as big a deficit.
Exactly. Still have the whole map to pretty much flex around and see what kind of performance can really be showcased by your attacking side. So Benchwarmers really, they switch things around just a little bit. They introduce now Hibana into the rosters, Iana on the side of Ravenna to get a little bit more of that information gathering utility. So it seems that they kind of fully acknowledge what kind of went wrong there. Why did Ravenna initially did go down to the fact of just purely just lack of information about the flank around. And so maybe even a slight bigger lean into a much more aggressive gameplay. I mean, the fact that Proper Weasel managed to take a really confident position over at the armory stairs opened a plethora of opportunities, and something that I don't think Stormy was really expecting, nor did Universal. So there's definitely plenty of room for all of that play, and something that could be very much noteworthy for AE as well is hoping to try to play for that maybe vertical, have some offside presence, because the moment they are being kind of all locked into those very static positions, they become rather easy targets for a flank.
As it stands at the moment, we do see... look, there was a minor deviation. L picking up the Hibana this time and Rav over to the Iana. So a bit of a switch in roles. Well, not necessarily roles, but operators within those roles.
Operators, yeah.
Sophia to Iana. Ace
leaning
to
to
instead.
Leaning to slightly just different niche for it all, as Stormy already taking quite a chunk of damage. I'm assuming that's courtesy of Luxie as well, because that was a very rapid dip in the health pool. Now, Luxie actually does opt to play a little bit more of a kind of passive player, waiting for the Twitch drone to actually deal some damage, and sure indeed it does, and unfortunately we do get a very, such a great feature that is the sound bug. It doesn't. It won't really. It really won't stop us from casting the rest of it. But
No,
look, proper weasel.
it's more the audible groan
Hmm.
from the production team behind the scenes. The audio fucking be heard. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is. It is Siege, and as it always seems to be with a new season comes a new audio issue. But right now, we head to that 90-second remaining mark. Queen AFK watching from pit, trying to catch out anyone. The health bars, look, it still will favour alternate edge as it will for every single round, but
Yeah.
there is still, we've already seen that last round, there is potential for that upset.
Yeah, Ravenna has a big opportunity as well to be the upset factor as she is on a flank from the white stairs. There's the drop in, possibly ready to roll as Ravenna. No, Ellie just falls into the frost trap. Queen AFK gets the better of proper weasel. It is all slowly starting to look very bad, but the F2 does ring out to get the frag. That's a 2 actually on the side of Altered Edge, but they don't realize that Barry is still hanging around downstairs. So right now, if they do take a very swift control of the side, this could be big as Kylix does take a chunk of damage.
Ravenna's going to re-attempt the swing and finds the final. Barry down below, like you said. Elle looked like not only had she walked into a frost mat, but what we saw on our screen looked like she was having a bit of issues with cramp as well. Like, you know, wake up in the middle of the night and your legs all of a sudden, it feels like you've been shot. Yeah, that's what it looked like she was suffering. But Cthulhu, what I have to say, there's a pocket shield for Barry right now.
Not too sure if that was actually intended, but regardless, could bring in quite a lot of upset. 19 seconds to go. The plant needs to go down rather rapidly as the diffuser that has just been dropped, and, well, promptly the rotation comes in. Barry going to make sure to either nail the good shot, but decides to just start rotating, given that the lack of information is certainly in place for, well, Altered Edge. And once again, Benchwarmers are very cleanly able to still come back from that initial deficit and still continuing to apply even further pressure, as that's another conclusion to the round in a 2v1.
F's not out. Cracked on the sticks. An incredibly skilled player for Rainbow Six Siege, and especially in the Women's League as well. I would have thought playing from a deficit was the motivation Benchwarmers needed to come into this match and teach their opponents a lesson.
Absolutely. I mean, look, what better way to prove themselves than say, look, heck it, yep, there's a slight player deficit, we're still going to play it out. I think, yeah, like you pointed out before, we're definitely going to be seeing a whole lot more possible problems starting to ramp up once we do get to the defense, just given that the sheer number of utility has been obviously down by 1/5, and certain operator lineups won't be as feasible as something a little bit more kind of standardized, something a little bit more basic. So we'll certainly have to wait and see. For the time being, though, yeah, attack has been absolutely solid from Benchwarmers, and they're certainly doing a really, really good job overall. Now, also, it has been only 2 rounds. Those 2 rounds have been read in rather well, and I definitely gotta commend Benchwarmers. Even starting from round 1 and continuing into round 2, they knew exactly how to really play with that deficit. They would apply a little bit of pressure, get that early opener, use and abuse the fact that Thatcher was allowed to slip in through the ban phase, and then have the remaining players just play for those flanks, and flanks worked out just also perfectly.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a bomb.
Understandably, at the moment, though. Well, down in the basement, Cthulhu, it looks like we are getting the standards. Oh, Kylix, that is dangerous.
Audacious.
That was dangerous indeed.
Yeah. Look, a good last-moment reinforcement to kind of say, okay, sorry, we're closed. You're not allowed to come in through here. Which will actually be possibly the biggest hindrance/annoyance for Benchwarmers, given that I believe only Ravenna actually has the Gon 6 in her hands. And if not then, well, it's either the frag grenades or the Hibana pellets that will have to be used, and, well, neither of those would be preferable for all that usage. So as it stands, I suppose we'll have to wait and see. Yeah, there's Ravenna's confirmation that there is quite a nasty angle being set up, so we'll have to either try to flank them out from some other position, or we'll try to actually go for just a clear contention, as Ellie actually does get rid of one of the castle barricades and confirms fully that, well, it's just more so like a buffer position that has been reinforced. So the rest of BW are, meanwhile, applying a little bit more pressure onto the freezer stairs, and as long as that distraction in the laundry comes about, this could actually be a very powerful position to play around with.
Oh, most definitely with Rev pushing down laundry stairs as well, despite, lacking a member here. Benchwarmers are not letting that hold them back whatsoever. Rev kicks it off with a kill on the Kylix. That's the first, almost taken. Berry down as well. I mean, you would think that they were playing a 5v5 right now.
Absolutely, yeah. A massive amount of effort is being put into each one of the rounds, and that opener on Takalex does make things a whole lot more interesting. Albeit with Luxie going down, that's your big pressure on the freezer stairs, so once again, the split is very much necessary. Ravenna does get finally the better of Barry, and now Ellie is the one to have the crossfire into the laundry, so the moment the push comes to shove, well, it will be difficult to deal with. I say that, though, well, Ravenna does fall. It's a bit of a flurry of kills, but now it's a split kind of effort in a 2v2 with 45 seconds remaining.
The attacker's bomb
Gonna
diffuser
come,
is destroyed.
Universal, holding things down with that carbine. Aldo left alone to clutch up, spots the head and the shoulder, but unfortunately is just pixels off as the line of sight onto the diffuser, but now needs to force the issue with the toxic canisters in place. Stormy has all the utility needed to lock off this freezer door. I don't know if timing is going to be comfortable there with the X-Cairo pellets. Has to pop them, and it's really only going to be a case of seconds for it once she does push through. Stun out through the freezer door. Hits herself with it, unfortunately, and the X-Kairos haven't done the job. Unfortunate there, Cthulhu.
No.
The map, her own undoing, and Ella's just going to sit there yelling at the monitor. Not going to be.
Rather unfortunate there for L. Got stuck and couldn't prone either. So, yeah, a bit of a yikes moment as we finally do see Altered Edge get on board with a point. But still, though, I mean, if it's only the laundry that is being the problem, the rest of the sites so far, I mean, it's been only just 2 replays of the top floor hold. So I would imagine the final conclusion would be off the back of how will Kids and Dorms whole version 3 will really work out here, because not a whole lot of changes apart from, once again, Barry introducing the frost, but surely this time we are going to be seeing the frost mat under the window to try to clear it out later down the line. Whereas for Altered Edge, look, it seems like it's more so just they don't have enough information / expectation that certain flanks are going to come about, and the fact that, say, in the second round, it was Ravenna that just flat out got to walk up the white stairs and then have a crossfire to cut off the rotation, any sort of rotation, as a matter of fact, from B side into the remainder of the top floor, certainly posed quite a problem for Altered Edge to deal with. So one would think that they would be able to, fix it up going into this round. But Barry's setups are also a rather interesting one, given that those may look initially rather silly, but it's usually the most unexpected ones that would be played out. And, well, funnily enough, no Wamai, no Jaeger, so the shield could get ridden rather quickly.
I mean, it's an interesting setup on the whole in that, you look at the way that they're positioned. There are holes underneath the frost mats, especially in kids' dorms as well. So as soon as that shield is destroyed, they have that information from below, which I imagine is the goal in this situation. But right now, the sound bug is horrendous, so I think we can all agree. But Cthulhu, they are starting to pressure on towards the site once again. Twitch drone in play. Thatcher there as well for them, so this wall should be easy. They're just freely getting these drones in.
Free information, free real estate possibly to be gained as Luxie's about to jump in through the window, but there is going to be quite a nasty crossfire that could be set up there. And Benchwarmers, look, they have made quite a few adjustments with Barry now playing a rather long-range angle. I mean, the C9 SMG does... Oh, sorry. Is it the C9? T5, maybe? Either way, Frost SMG can be a bit of a laser beam, but a rather slow one in the damage department.
Well, pinging out that shield there, knowing that this has been a key point of contention throughout the matchup so far. So if they can deal with Stormy, unfortunately, they may not realize necessarily that Stormy has relocated over towards the breach itself. And this M590 play could be huge. Rav trying to catch someone out from below. We hit at the final 50. Oh no, L!
Yep.
That's the second time the same frost mat. Unfortunately, this time it's not going to be recoverable as everyone is just falling here. Rav, the only one standing, looking to pick up proper Weasel right now. No aggression, no unnecessary forcing of that angle. The Nitro, unfortunately, going to get stuck on the wall. Bean will pop it anyway, gives himself more of a rotate. Yeah, L, I think I need to go to bed. I think not totally wrong at this stage.
Yeah. Now, in comes the problem that, yeah, look, Benchwarmers were able to find themselves a really nice double round, but it was namely off the very same set of plays, so, well, once the third attempt came about, Altered Edge were very much aware of when even the timings could be done, and all the adjustments certainly worked out just the right way. Proper Weasel about to run into a plethora of problems, but does manage to find a nice shot onto Kylex before shut it down by Universal. But look, yeah, well, Altered Edge are starting to pull a bit of a comeback here, into 2 scoreline, which still workable for Benchwarmers, I reckon. And as long as they can make it at least a 3-3, this is certainly doable for them.
Doable, achievable, you love it. It's exactly where you want things. Oh dear. L is not having the ideal play tonight, unfortunately. First the wall down in the basement from Freezer, and now a frost mat twice. It's
on the same position as well.
On the same position as well, Cthulhu. Talk about heartbreaking.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Get to play or see the similar position to be played out somehow magically. I'll be curious if we'll run into that same spot yet again. Wonder what was the actual thinking process. Was it more so just about, surely, well, that same frost mat won't be played here, but in similar vein, it was Benchwarmers that played the same attacking strat on the top floor over and over again until they finally got caught off guard. So could possibly be that issue. Now, looking at the scoreline, it is, funnily enough, Barry and Universal doing a lot of pushing and shoving, with then Queen AFK and Stormy kind of leading, well, after them. And Kylex kind of just, yeah, look, I had a little bit of a rough day so far. Still yet to get on board, but one would hope that now picking up the Vigil role would certainly allow that flexibility just a teeny tiny bit more. But for BW, once again, it's I'll stand to my point. They need to have that just almost kind of rush-like aggression to come out.
Yeah, it begs the question what it would have been like if we'd seen this played out as a 5v5, though, Cthulhu, given that it is so even. Unfortunately, it seems like it is going to be our loss at the end of the day, not being able to manage the full 5-player roster. Rev, unfortunately, going to fall to Stormy. The aggression from the showers going to be answered back in kind, though. Luckily, Al covering the angle takes one back at least.
Oh, man. Yeah, look, a bit of a trade. Not the most favorable one. Ravenna going down as the Ashe player. Certainly not the operator that you would want to lose, especially, well, in this kind of scenario. But certainly still keeps BW afloat. Luxie does get the better of Barry, albeit at the very huge expense of her own health pool, so future gunfights could be rather problematic. Elle as well cannot connect the shots for the life of her there in that gunfight, which does forces her to, well, lose quite a number of the health points. As now it's all down to Proper Weasel, essentially, to be the last survivor, I suppose, of this whole frag fiesta that has been set up by Benchwarmers. And as it stands, the tertiary side's not particularly working out the way how Benchwarmers really wanted it.
The wild thing is, you don't have a Nitro cell in play, but you have, like, what, 3-4 impacts still remaining, which would be enough at this situation. For the first time, I think, in history, it would be an attacker being fragged out from below by some sort of explosive utility that isn't a Nitro cell. And, well, With Queen AFK finding proper Weasel, that is the healthiest member of Benchwarmers relegated to drone duty alongside Ravenna. I mean, at this point, I think a drone has more health than either Luxy or L.
Certainly does look like that way. Universal does get the better of Luxy. L does fall to the hands of Queen AFK, and Altered Edge do find themselves yet another point, 3-pointer as a matter of fact, and now back to back to back. So far, a little bit of instead of an alarming signs really being shown here, given that the Benchwarmers had a really good beginning to it all. Unfortunately, just once the read came into the general strat of the way how the attack had been performed, seems like Altered Edge kind of found their forte here. Now going into the laundry room and supply, this was the site that was, yeah, look, L would want...
Elle finds herself in a position where she might get benched from Benchwarmers if she runs into another frost mat.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
Oh, she is
going through a three-peat.
No. So that was I suppose not quite a word for word repeat of what former President George W. Bush said, which was, "Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Fool me 3 times, or you ain't gonna fool me again."
Maybe the idea being that we won't be able to fool again, but just because the round count will already expire by this point. But
10 seconds left.
I have to wait and see if what is actual conclusion of this whole matchup. Look, as it stands though, still a very solid effort, I have to say, from Benchwarmers, and definitely it's a shame that no registered players were able to be fielded for that roster. But Ravenna will be the one to attempt to go and to be the spearhead player of the whole push for Benchwarmers, as she does spot out yet again another castle barricade, the absolute bane of the existence of BW, it seems, as now not only will they don't have the Hibana, well, L will have to possibly do that breaching herself, albeit she does have the soft breach charges, so she will be actually the prime contender to get rid of those castle barricades, so possibly a need to keep her kind of alive for as long as possible could be in place. But Barry actually plays around with a really nasty angle to begin with.
Like ice on the org. Clean looking gun. Right now,
drop the diffuser.
minute burnt. Well, they are slowly starting to clear out some of this key utility. Unfortunately, is probably going to require another EMP because they didn't quite open up the hatch in meeting. Yeah, unfortunately, Al is flustered. Al is, Al is shook. She is tilted.
Located a bomb.
She is, well, mental in the bin. Let's put it that way.
Indeed it is. This will be forcing BW to go for a bit more of a kind of rougher approach to it all. They still have at least a peak hole to actually go for a cheeky checkout. Ravenna still has one more secondary hard breach device. So theoretically, well, if Proper Weasel decides to utilize her last EMP grenade, well, a breach through that hatch could actually still be workable, but again, would be a rather difficult task given that the sheer peaking potential whilst that charge is being planted will be rather frustrating. But Ravenna does get connection onto Kylix as well. Finally does even out the numbers game, but very instantaneously from a very difficult pixel angle. Shut down and destroyed, demolished. Berry finds herself a frag onto Proper Weasel. All of a sudden, 4v2.
Again, not impossible. We've seen both Luxy and L frag out, but playing at a deficit with only 36 seconds. Oh no, Cthulhu. It's the wall again. What is L going to do this time? There's a breaching charge. Unfortunately, she's not even going to get to the wall as the diffuser falls. Luxy playing from bottom laundry has to push in. Unfortunately, the recoil is a bit too much at the end of the day, and Berry will pull it out of the bag. Altered Edge redeem themselves in the close of the half.
Oh, Altered Edge, do manage to claim themselves the 4-pointer. And again, look, a side that was more so expected to be favored, to be that of the defense. So one will be quite curious to see how will Benchwarmers really perform now on defense, given that they get to essentially await for the attack to come their way. And overall, I mean, it's still not the end of the world. And I still definitely think that with the lineup that they are bringing in, Mute, Legion, Smoke, and Jaeger, they're still covering all the basics, and still each and one of those operators could really frag out, given that, well, Proper Weasel gets to hang around with the MP5K rather than the shotgun, just purely for a little bit more of a flexibility and just say keep Luxy with just the shotgun. And certainly it seems that way. Proper Weasel to keep the MP5K, and the rest of the team just quickly doing a few more setups, a few more reinforcements. Obviously, will have to play for the post-breach scenario, and we'll also have to deal with the fact that Kylix will have the ability to heal up her teammates if they do take some minuscule amount of damage.
Well, look, this is where I think that deficit comes into play, and it was what I've been talking about for a while now.
10 seconds.
Yeah, I've been talking about that for a while.
It means you are limited in what you can actually bring. And
5 seconds.
so they've got the
left
smoke and the
before
mute,
insertion.
but then what extra covers? You need the Jaeger to clear with the, deal with the throwables. The Legion for Elle, I think, is just a bit of, PTSD response to the trap that she has been suffering so far in the first half. But, I mean, it's also a great gun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Legion's SMG is a rather potent weapon and has a very stable kind of damage output, so certainly very worthwhile kind of gun investment there, I suppose you could call it. Meanwhile, AE are just looking to begin their assault rather soon. Barry, just as long as Barry just finishes with having a few technical, I guess, difficulties with trying to just vault over to the roof of the second floor of Oregon's house, and AE looking to just go for a very organized but very cluttered up push towards the trophy, which would be rather problematic to deal with, especially for just L.
Well, look, I think there is a lot more flexibility available for Altered Edge, given that they have that extra player advantage, so they could even just play the numbers game if they wanted to, but it also means that they're not sacrificing utility to clear things out and open objectives, and we're exactly seeing that right now. They're going to start opening up Attic. They're going to probably contest Walk-in Wardrobe as well. Ravenna, the first to cop some damage there, stuck in Armory. They could well and truly isolate this gunfight, though.
Absolutely. Well, with Universe already taking quite a heavy amounts of damage, and in the post-breach scenario now, L still getting to play for a really comfortable position. This could be a bit problematic, albeit, well, finally the boost from Kylix starting to come about. Proper Weasel starting to get a little bit more pressured, which forces her out of the spot, and Proper Weasel has the position. That's one. Can she find another one? That's the swing. No, that's not the mid reload, though. That is not particularly what you want to see. Universal down.
Whoa!
And another one for Ravenna. Now all of a sudden 2v3 as AE are just flustered, caught lacking and slacking, and by the conclusion of it all, being bench warmers send, well, AE to the bench.
That was a big round, holding off on the defense, not giving a single inch. Even, I mean, playing more aggressive than I would have thought, given...
And that's exactly what they need, really.
Exactly, but playing as aggressively as they did from the deficit is... I could name any number of teams that would have just held back and said, oh, we're just going to play safe because we don't want to risk it, and that more often than not will end up costing you.
Exactly. Gotta say as well, just a really clean play, and being able to play off the fact that he kind of just stuttered and pretty much just slowed down at the worst possible position, really, right before their push onto the side, meant that a lot of ground has been generated for bench warmers. And yeah, look, they've played their cards perfectly well. Now a slight change to the roster, now introducing Chanka as well, partially for the rotation potential, partially for the utility that the Spetsnaz operator now brings in, with the almost like a secondary smoke player, so you could really split your effort. Actual smoke plays still in the in the elbow of the bunker, and then Chunker still plays around Laundry, preventing that actual aggression to allow even for the push from a relatively safe perspective as well. So it's more so just the fact that the moment some of those bench warmers players do go down, it's a bit more of an impactful frag than them finding just one singular frag onto the altered edge players.
Well, bench warmers, they are going to have to keep holding off for, well, 4 more rounds if they want the victory here before we head to overtime. It's a tall task, even with 5. But they're making good work of it. It's genuinely impressive to see them hold on this resolutely. But Altered Edge, they're going to do their best to try and close it out before it gets to overtime either. The ping's coming through. Okay. I've seen that go wrong a few times. Unfortunately, it is not always the trigger discipline that you need in these searches. But the Altered Edge, they're looking for that top-down clear. They want to make sure there's no offsite presence, which, I mean, at the moment is going to be L.
Yeah. Be in a bit of a world of pain if she doesn't decide to fall back rather promptly back to the side, as her position could become very much expendable very quickly. Ravenna and Barry do trade some damage, but that very chunk amount of damage that has been just dealt to the floors has been, for the majority of it, negated by the Finka boost. So Kylix, whilst, yeah, look, not having the most shiniest performance, her utility usage still does help a whole lot to the Altered Edge lineup. But once again, well, Kylix down could be picked back up once the boost does come about, but it's a 3-stack right on those stairs, and that is exactly where the problems start compounding. I say that though, Proper Weasel does connect some nice shots onto Kylix to finish off the Finka.
It's the power of the chunk of the DP27. It is going to hold them in their tracks for now, and especially the power of a smoke and a Tachanka in play. There's a lot of stall potential.
Attackers have located a bomb.
And oh, L, this is a power position and a half, playing up big tower, not scouted. And Stormy is on the drone as well. So if L was to make her move now, it could be deadly. But no, Stormy is going to head on downstairs, completely unaware that her position is being tracked from behind. This Apex Predator L. Woo, Jaw, very nearly with the spray there, but gets the kill nonetheless. You got to respect that a frag is a frag, especially in this situation. Heading into the final 20, Cthulhu. They just might have pulled this one back. Barry falls. L, an absolute demon in the server, looking for more. Queen AFK in trouble. Weasel swings at Benchwarmers, a 1 frag away from equalizing. Universal not going to let Proper Weasel bag that one either.
5 seconds remaining.
5 seconds and a toxic canister. Universal's got no chance. Somehow, Benchwarmers with L at the helm gets themselves the win.
L handing out the L's to the opposing teams. So far doing a really solid job now, managing to equalize the scoreline 4-4. No tech pause as well either from Altered Edge, given that quite a number of mistakes have been done. They have that from the get-go numbers advantage, but yet none of that utilization of those said numbers has been really performed by Altered Edge roster, which poses quite a number of questions there. Now, maybe later down the line we could be seeing some much needed emphasis on the push, but interestingly enough, Barry swapping over to a Nomad could really throw in a little bit of a spanner in the works, given that L's play so far has been that very remote but yet very aggressive sort of roam. So now going into the tertiary site, this could very well decide that kind of overall outcome of how the remainder of the match will really be played out. Because if Benchwarmers do manage to claim a victory here, well, they're only 2 points away from, or rather 2 rounds away from scoring themselves the much needed victory here, and it will be a rather finessed one given the the fact that they have been essentially forced to play in a 4v5. And so far, I mean, it didn't look like it particularly hindered them too much. As a matter of fact, it seemed to have mobilized them rather well to just play out to the fullest potential each and one of their positions. So making it count is so far seems to be kind of the name of the game for Benchwarmers.
I mean, they're doing that in spades. They've made this count infinitely. It's insane. They
Mm.
are actually pushing Altered Edge so deep into this matchup, and we do see something a little bit different. Cthulhu, one of your faves, coming into play here for this kitchen and dining defense. Queen AFK on the fuse.
Yeah, Fuse being busted out, as well as Nuttery's favorite operator, Gridlock, though also once again finding appearance. And look, yeah, honestly, Fuse could really do quite a lot of good work, albeit Stormy, no. No, absolutely just denies any sort of play. Ravenna understands how much of a mess up that was, but regardless, still some trades do come about, and Luxie and the rest of the team still being able to hold on their position could really do a solid amount of job, but Fuse from above could really throw in a spanner in the works, especially on the hold and B side.
Oh boy, this could get very dangerous very, very quickly. The fuse charge being relocated. Weasel might have to run soon and will be ducked through into security. They do get the kill on the Kylix though. So we are at a 3 versus 3. Not impossible by any stretch of the imagination, but L looking to get aggressive up the armory stairs. And I think
She has the ground for it.
I think the only thing that this 4v5 has done to the benchwarmers is meant that L can actually get a fair share of the kills now.
And she finally gets to spread her wings and see what kind of just fun shenanigans she can get up to. Luxie as well, might I add, has been going absolutely ballistic. I mean, you look at the position, 9 to 3 for L, Luxie 7 to 5, Proper Weasel 7 to 8. So it's been a very much of a collective effort here from Benchwarmers, and this is a very heartwarming thing to really see. Now the swing, no, Stormy does get the better of Luxie, but this still keeps it at a 2v2, a very able setup for Benchwarmers, especially with the sheer amount of utility that has been still left out.
Weasel, though, going to vacate to the basement, leaves L to defend the site almost on her own, but coming in from behind, Stormy absolutely played right there. The swing, the LG, Queen AFK almost in the pinch, mouse one being held, and Weasel says, hell no, I am out of here. But look at that, L watching the freezer door. Benchwarmers have the lead currently.
Perfect play there, bait and switch from Benchwarmers, just playing AE like just it was always meant to be this way. And 5 to 4. Look, I mean, we were thinking about this kind of whole turnout for Benchwarmers as a very grim situation, but now taking all the things that happened into perspective, doesn't look like it hindered them in any shape or form. Now, whilst bear in mind we still yet to lock in even the match point, so far Benchwarmers were able to play their cards oh so well that it's commendable. Almost. Not almost, actually is commendable, pardon me, sorry.
Attackers need to locate and
Indeed. I mean, just the resilience being shown right now to hold on and keep battling despite having issues coming into the matchup, but it is what it is. The rules are the rules for a reason. But you make do with what you can, and look, they're making absolute work happen.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. It's been a pleasure watching the way how they've been playing. Each and one of those executions just been absolutely pitch perfect. On the other hand, though, looking at AE, very almost disconnected push by them. Not only the lack of utilization of the drones that has been seeing just a very much of a kind of missed opportunity from AE to gather some more information. Whilst, yes, Ravenna did get knifed amidst all of that chaos last round, it was only then that it was starting to happen. The rest of the play has been very much just face check each and one of the corners and pray to whatever deity you believe into to have the upper hand and have the Pika's advantage there, really.
Well, I don't even know if a deity will help at this point. We'll have to see. Benchwarmers, I think they're just too warmed up and ready to go in this matchup. So it's definitely okay. Barry running the suppressor on the L8, not something that I've seen in a while, but this is something I'm more familiar with.
Absolutely. Look, Luxie, Ravenna, So far, the two big performance as well as that. L has been doing some stellar work. Proper Weasel, what a phenomenal play. Still having a very sharp response. That's two on Kylix as well. Absolutely demolition. Looks to go in to find another one. No, that's a frag grenade. No, unfortunately does not connect, but deals a hefty amount of damage onto Queen AFK to make it a 3-3. And now downed and almost out, but Luxie does not confirm and couldn't actually see that she actually downed Queen AFK, but she is oh so isolated, meaning, well, Altered Edge quite firmly could be locked out of the possibilities.
Well, Kazulu, this is looking like it might be the bench warmers picking up the dub. Luxie wants to get aggressive. That's the ankle. Oh, she could have denied the pickup there. Missed opportunity. We're back in the 3 versus 3, but this toxic canister could change that. Indeed.
Yeah. Look, not the best turnout so far for AE, but with Ravenna picking up another one onto Barry, Universal is low on HP, Queen AFK is low, now left all alone. It's all just an absolute flog of just unfortunate events as Benchwarmers are looking to take their 6th point, and that is what I play will be indeed. There's the one pump down and out. Very well done by Benchwarmers as they do score themselves the match point.
6-4 in a 4 versus 5. All this has done is allowed L to pop off.
Yeah, L been doing some absolutely gargantuan effort as well as the rest of the team. I mean, yeah, it's been a genuine pleasure watching the way how they've been all performing. Usually we would end up, occasionally pointing out, oh yeah, this is not really working out. This has been a problem. Oh yeah, 4v5. Yeah, the usual set of excuses. Here, well, it's genuinely been a pleasure seeing that. Well, whilst yes, player disadvantage is definitely a problem and definitely something to keep an eye out for, the way how it ended up playing out for the defense of Benchwarmers, no hindrance whatsoever. They knew exactly where to play. Yes, whilst they would go down, a few rotations would need to happen, but you can see that the preparation for at least Oregon in regards to how they coordinate their plays, the just prep in regards to the mechanical skill as well, has been really, really improving, and that is something that is absolutely great to see. Great to see and great to watch, really. So overall, look, I'm genuinely happy with how things worked out for Benchwarmers.
Look, it's oh, I've forgotten the word that I was looking for. It's a testament. It is a testament to their resilience and their skill at the end of the day. They are holding on and they are holding fast.
Absolutely. Already straight off the bat, Queen AFK does go down. It's a full-on rush here. Proper Weasel bailing out. Luxie about to go in for a swing. No, it's a Flores drone. In comes the flashes as well. Ravenna does get outed from all of this absolute chaos. An absolute fragfest. Proper Weasel now looking to do some even more damage. Another Flores drone that will be looking out. No, Proper Weasel, you have to bail out from that position. Stormy is tagged up. Barry is tagged up. No, unfortunately, Kylix does get the frag onto Proper Weasel as well, as that's finally the double. And L very hastily trying to make a rotation, but she will have to force essentially the whole onslaught in a crossfire between herself and Luxie, and so far it's working out to absolute perfection.
She got the diffuser down. It's on Luxie. Down the 1 versus 1. Barry has an idea. He's going to go for the knife to finish it off, but that's a giveaway. That's a dead giveaway. Luxie! Benchwarmers somehow steal the round away again.
Benchwarmers just absolutely rolling their opposition no matter what, and it's a really great thing to see. A really good job done from the teams and from AE. Well, not from AE, pardon me. From AE, it was a rather frustrating turnout, as my Vigil Chibi just completely fell off my table as I got that excited. But Benchwarmers, look, this is a testament. This is a statement that has pretty much now quite a lot of Women's League teams now kind of scratching their heads thinking, well, if that's how they perform in a 4v5, what will happen further down the line in a 5v5 when benchwarmers play? Because it is a deadly stack.
It was terrifying, even. They were just hitting some nutty shots. Altered Edge were giving them far too much leeway across the map. And it was, look, benchwarmers, they did not squander this opportunity.
Not at all, yeah, look. All the commendations there to benchwarmers. On the other hand, for AE, a massive flop in their performance. Coordination just not there. Even in the fragging department, look, I mean, one would look at the lineup, given the fact that as well Nico is there occasionally on the as a coach for them, occasional coach. One would think that all that experience and knowledge and prowess is there, but maybe it's more so communication error that kind of occurred today. And yeah, for AE, no more of those 3 points. That opportunity is completely gone and out. And well, for benchwarmers, it's just yet another step close to that top 4 position and to keep up their run throughout the whole season.
Well, I mean, look, match 1 done. Benchwarmers, they made a hell of a show of it, and they gave us some very impressive siege. The only downside we saw from them was Ravenna not quite watching her own back, getting shanked. But it is what it is, Cthulhu. When we come back, though, we're going to throw it to a break. We're going to be heading into our final match of the evening. That one being the Warriors taking on Volpez. Obviously, the Warriors are a team with some of the most impactful players in the competition at the moment. Volpez is struggling at the moment. I mean, this is some real dethroning moments that we could be seeing just after the break. So when we come back, we'll jump on into it. We'll see you soon.
Watch me now. Watch me now. Watch me now. Everybody talk. I just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.
Well, Cthulhu, one match done, and it was a bit of an upset, if we're being perfectly honest. A 4 versus 5 traditionally does not go the way of the 4, but we head to our second match of the night, the definite top and tail of the leaderboards at the moment. Warriors in first place, Volpez all the way down in 8th. There is potential for one of the greatest upsets in Women's League history to occur.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, for Volpez, it was so far a really rough season. Look, a few learning points have been found out from all of the losses, but you're still yet to find a win. And look, if they find a win over Warriors, that is 110% will be the greatest upset from the bottom of the leaderboard to the top. But look, yeah, for Warriors, so far, they've been relatively clean on their performance. I mean, yeah, like you alluded to before, Sleeps T, aka Crips T, the best impact trigger in the whole of Women's League coming into the play. But honestly, I'm definitely keen to see how this really unveil, because, well, for Warriors, this is a chance to obviously solidify their position yet again. Points-wise, on the side of Volpez, this is a chance to finally break through the loss streak that they've so far been on.
Now, look, there needs to be cause for concern, I think, Cthulhu. We talked about this, the other night. Crips T turned her back on a former team to vouch for their opponents. Do you reckon there's any possibility that there could be some doubt in her mind tonight that the Vodafone Warriors will pick up the win and it might be Volpez coming out on top?
I think as long as she just believes in her own fragging ability, that's where it's all just going to come to fruition. Maybe at this point, just her favor, wherever her favor goes is where the actual dubs are being occurred. So, look, as it stands, I doubt that Warriors should have too much of the problems. On the side of Volpez, though, they would obviously want to put their absolutely best showing possible, and one would hope that they would have all of the player power and all the utility power there to stop the onslaught of what seems like absolute titans of the scene.
Titans indeed. Let's take a bit of a deeper dive into the teams as they are at the moment. Coming into tonight, the Warriors, undefeated, top of the table. KT, the Crips walking turtle as she is. Time for Pie, Sav, Aussie Princess, Soy, and then you got Beans, AJ, and Mons in the back line providing that support. This is a terrifying roster and one that has been tormenting Women's League for the last couple of seasons.
100%. Yeah, all these players are basically veterans now by this point within the Women's League competitive scene, and absolutely, yeah, been tearing it up, whether it's in solo department, whether it's in the team department. I mean, quite a number of those players have managed to play under multiple different banners before even Vodafone Warriors, so wouldn't be surprised if, well, they just keep on improving more and more with maybe only ever so slightly reiterations of some of the players, and even then it will be a rather surprising thing, given that so far it's been a very much of a working kind of formula, and, well, why really change it given just how much of an impact it was bringing in?
It's exactly it, but I mean, their opponents tonight, they're not ones to be counted out of the competition either. Volpez, they still have that opportunity to upset here tonight. Toki, Cheesebender coming in as a sub, Izumi Angry, and Jessenox coming in. The subs, though, not the subs that they will be playing with. Those are Warriors subs, and as much as I think that maybe they would like to have those subs in support, it's not the case.
Yeah, look, Volpes are a team that have been showing signs of all the possible outcomes and all the possible dubs, and they have shown some great promise in several number of their plays, but unfortunately they yet to find that last final step to finally close out the rounds in their favor, to finally find the points for themselves, because as it stands, yeah, look, bottom of the leaderboard certainly doesn't look too particularly flashy, but look, what does look flashy, certainly a whole brand spanking new map that is being brought out. It's not Clubhouse, it's not Oregon, it is finally Chalet, the map that has been taking quite the liking within Challenger League, and so, well, for the right reasons. The map does provide a very fresh new outlook to certain things, but still allows a really good vertical gameplay.
The unfortunate thing being, I did tweet before this matchup that if the Warriors played anything other than Clubhouse, Oregon, or Villa, I would stop memeing on KT. And unfortunately, that's happened. But look, hey, I'll take it. I just didn't want those three maps. We're getting something fresh. So who really is the loser here at the end of the day? And okay, Angry, there is more information in that sentence than I ever needed.
No comment on that one on my end as well. But good luck, have fun to both of the teams. As well, the first ban was fully acknowledging how dangerous it could be. Thank you. that was a good one, Nanavi. Thank you. Yes, but look, whilst our biased observer does keep on committing absolute travesties out on the leaderboard, we do get a finger ban as well. So, look, overall, I think that's a sane ban, given that Warriors have been leading a fair few times into the Finca picks, the fact that obviously she can, remedy certain issues with the health disadvantage, plus, yeah, as pointed out in the game chat as well, the LMG and the frag grenades, and look, yeah, target ban coming about, Volpes certainly knowing their opponents, and certainly looking like, at least in the ban department, they have done their homework.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of prep coming into this matchup. They knew exactly what they wanted to be taking out here. But, I mean, look, there's still a lot in play, and that's a little concerning, Cthulhu.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Quite a fair few things are still in play. Operators like Thatcher still in the play, in the position. And on the side of the defense, well, Valkyrie is being reintroduced back into the swing of things. Cade still gets pretty much free roam, but that's later down the line that will be brought out. And look, on the side of New Zealand Warriors, they are looking to actually keep things rather flexible with their lineup, including even the pick of Soy's Frost, as the Canadian operator has been finding quite a much more frequent pick as of recently, given that the loadout itself got a little bit of a buff quite a fair while ago, including the ballistic shield, the secondary shotgun, plus the utility, the trap utility itself under some of those windows can be rather problematic to deal with. So, we'll have to wait and see what is actually going to be the choice. What is, though, curious to me is the fact that we are going to be seeing a pick of a shield operator from
10 seconds
Izumi
left
as
before
well.
insertion.
So
Well,
the addition,
yeah.
so
We,
the addition of that aggressive pusher is great. Yeah, go on, Blue Panther.
We do apologize for the lack of audio. We have agreed that we are going to be sanctioning our observer. This is just not on. We have expected more from him, given his history. But KT kneecapped there accidentally, I believe, by Sav. And well, it doesn't matter. Time for Pi on the job takes out probably one of the biggest operators to have available at the start of a round.
Yeah, with IQ gone, that's a lot of that scouting utility gone and out. Plus, well, I mean, 3-speed operator that can go for some very impactful swings. Pretty much gone, done, and dusted. Now, what is curious to me is the fact that Izumi is actually looking to go for a solo crusade, actually, as a Monty. So could get overwhelmed once the read does come about that it's only a solo Monty. As it stands, though, so far I calm before the storm right after that frag onto Jesse Knox, so let's see what will be the continuation of this whole odyssey.
Well, jumping on through the matchup, of course, first minute gone, a player off the board. But look, Warriors helping Volpez out a little bit. They dished out a decent chunk of damage to K2, who's going to find Toki as well. So now we, not only the most impactful operator, but the second most impactful operator as well. You've lost your IQ and your Thatcher off the board early. It is just going to put a little bit of extra pressure on Volpez. They're going to need to utilize this Monty just that little bit smarter. And whoa, cheese. Punching out that window, top library stairs, almost lost her head to the player mezzanine.
Quite a number of the crossfires are being set up on the second floor and using the actual Iana replicator is great and all, but that is just only there to drain the utility. The ballistic shield is still there to be played around, and Sav's position is going to be still absolutely impactful, although it does generate just about enough commotion to go in for the swing, and it does open up the opportunity for Angry Wolf to actually frag out Sav. So in saying that now diminishes the value of that position on the library stairs, as Soy also takes quite a chunk of damage, but it still keeps Volpez, generally speaking, out of the building.
The Saria gate going to be reset as well. All poor Angry can do is sit there and watch as it resets itself. And Crips T, spotting the Gemini, steps up, shuts it down. They are going to have to force something here, and Angry jumps on through. This is the exact angle they were most worried about. Nazumi forcing her way through on that shield, providing info. Time for Pi will shut down Cheese as the jump in through that double on mezzanine as well happens. It's all come apart a bit, and I think that Warriors are just sticking true to form.
Absolutely, yeah. This is so far a clean deal. Cripsty does find one, does find two as well to wrap it all up. As it stands, Volpez unfortunately couldn't find really the any sort of even opener onto the side, and were prevented from even getting close to it right at the very beginning. So, look, Warriors so far sticking to their form, despite Cripsty getting kneecapped there at the very beginning. It didn't seem to have hindered at all the performance whatsoever.
It makes me wonder if it's a fair play thing. You know, Warriors doing it because they know that there is a high likelihood that this is going to be a rough match for Volpez.
A bit of charity work, so you're saying, is being
tax
introduced
deductible as well. Donation rounds are tax deductible.
Yeah, true. Look, certainly wouldn't put it past that this could be the very thing you're talking about, but regardless of what the reality is of that situation, so far Warriors certainly shown a great deal of strong setup, strong performance, and on the solo level still being able to hold on to things rather well. On the side of Volpez, look, again, a good effort, good initial idea, but unfortunately just, look, maybe it was more so a matter of the
10 seconds remaining.
of the lack of a drone work. Maybe it was just the fact that maybe
5 seconds left.
more so just no lack of vertical play. I mean, we haven't really seen any push coming through the kitchen, no pressure from down below onto the actual physical side to force some sort of rotation to come about, because with Volpez, it was unfortunately for them a very one-dimensional push, which meant that, well, for Warriors, they could quite literally just rotate all of their players around and not really care a whole great deal.
We do see on our screens now, Jessenox running what we like to call in the biz the Banana Special, the Supernova, his gun of choice in the Oceanic Challenger League. Not necessarily on the Aruni, more on the Hibana than anything, but it is also the suppressed SMG11, another Banana Special as well, ironically enough. So just embracing it as it is, whether or not she knows that this is the case. It's a universal truth, Cthulhu. It is what it is.
It is what it is. It is the truth, and well, certainly does generate some form of open room to play around. Crips T, though, she may be that thorn in the side of Volpes once the push will come to shove, because the Crips T is set up with a C4 already prepped and set up from down below. Works out just the right way, albeit not as impactful play from in regards to the utility, but still, a player out is a player out, and that is what exactly Warriors are looking to achieve here straight from the get-go. Already a nasty angle is being set up even further by Crips T, waiting for yet another isolation. Angry does, though, get the better of Sav, which does make things a bit more equal, but the flank from Soy is what could really shut things down.
Hold up 1 second, I just have to Google something. How do I cast KT without making fun of her? I'm just kidding. Love KT, love the Warriors. They're a great bunch of girls. I love watching them play. And Soy, that's a flank and a half. Jeez, and Toki, it's a 2-for-1 sale. And Soy, I mean, she is just on a spending spree.
Absolutely. Just rolling down, just catching all of the drive-bys. Finding all of those frags has been absolutely phenomenal for her. Angry Wolf, unfortunately, caught in a very difficult position to really deal with, given that a lot of crossfires, a lot of angles to check, and yeah, exactly that. Amongst all of that confusion and panic, well, does get fragged out, unfortunately, for herself. It's all down to Izumi, though, to try to make a play. Does get the tag onto Aussie, but the repick does result in a much more problematic outcome. Time for Pi is the one to wrap it up, though. So Warriors do continue their streak rather well overall, in a very healthy defense setup on Chalet.
My lord, I mean, look, this is kind of what we expected. The Vodafone Warriors are at the top of the table for a reason. They are the best team in the league currently. And there's no reason or indication as to why that should stop being the case. They're going to go straight into it. The third round on the kitchen dining defense. They're looking for the flawless rotation of sites.
Oh, yeah, the flawless rotation would be rather upsetting as well, given that Wolpers were trying to make quite a big effort to go for the push, to make, the effort to make that whole lineup working. But the main kind of outtake from all of this from Volpes is the fact that, look, they are going in for those swings, but despite being in those kind of two-player groups, they still somehow feel a little bit disconnected. They're not close enough to being able to find those very momentum-based refrags, and it almost feels like it's just the lack of communication is there, maybe too, or maybe it's just the lack of composure to a certain degree, and maybe the experience just pointing into a wrong direction. Whatever it may be, well, hopefully Wolpes will be able to, find the solution for, albeit it's still going to be a rather tenuous task, especially given the fact that they are playing against the top one team. So certainly the skill gap also could be coming into the swing of things, given that the Warriors have players who have been playing on quite a number of rosters, had a lot of general competitive experience, and have been obviously, playing with a number of the players from CL and PL as well. But Angry's opener here is absolutely great, as so is Crips T's, as she gets to run away with the majority of her HP.
Almost found a second as well. There was another player on the stairs, Sav, watching, and, well,
Attackers have dropped
at the moment, it's just a Flurry. KT for a second in the round. Sav chimes in with a nitro. They lose the smoke, but they take everything else. This is the third round in play. They have lost 3 lives in that process, and if they keep the rest of the round as full as possible, that would be averaging a death a round. That's huge.
Rather unfortunate so far turnout yet again for Vulpes, but this time at just the hands of a singular player. And you look, I mean, at all the Vulpes lineup, they are just looking mainly at
Cthulhu's so stunned there that he's lagging. He's absolutely flabbergasted. But yeah, unfortunately there. And well, it's a swing, and it is going to be the average of a death per round. At the moment, we have 3 players for this team. Deathless, and KT is the one storming through with the best of them all. That is huge. We're still waiting on Cthulhu to get himself back into it, unfortunately. Just some minor lag issues. It is what it is. Obviously, Thursday night problems, but a 3-0 start, fullest rotation of sight for the Warriors. And, well, we head back to Bar Gaming, where we did kick things off, and you got to wonder, what can Vulpes do here to try and bring this one back? They seem to just be outclassed, outswung, out-momentumed even to an extent. And Cthulhu, I mean, if it was up to you, if you were the coach, if you were sitting there in voice chat, what would it be that you were saying to try and get Vulpes back into this? Okay, so that question, you missed the greatest, most inspirational speech that I have ever heard, and it shames me that you will in the Twitch chat will never get to know what Cthulhu just said, because 100%, if he said it to me, and unfortunately, you know, Cthulhu, it's one of those things. If you say it a second time, it won't have the same effect. But I mean, if you said that to me, I would be ready to play in Pro League, 100%.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
the calls of a caster could really do make the change. But overall, yeah, look, memes aside, certainly just needing that communication, even just the call-outs and the drone setups probably would certainly help a ton of things for Vulpes. But
well,
look,
they're not out of it. They're not out of it by any means.
They're not out of it yet. No, not at all. Yeah, still plenty of ground to really retake, and still plenty of opportunities. Plenty of opportunities for the retake and for the reverse sweep. But again, as it stands, it's a first place team versus the 8th place team so far. Obviously, the favor is looking towards Warriors. I say that though, nice solid trade does come about in favor of Warriors. But as it stands, oh no. It's just such a flurry of kills, and well, 3-3 is in play.
They get Soy as well. KT just misses the head there onto Angry. 3 versus 2, make that a 2. Well, 2 versus 2 now, effectively. Sab finished off finally. Jess on for a triple, but KT, the resilience is wild here right now. It's hard to say anything about KT without sounding sarcastic, but she is actually an absolute force to be reckoned with in this match. Aussie finds herself in the 1 versus 2. Jess is on for the ace as well. Cthulhu 4 so far. The pings to come through. Aussie backing herself into the corner in bar. The pings, these active pings, they have information galore. The drone and bar, though, should reveal the position. If she can relocate, can she get the kill? Yes, she can. Denies the ace and forces it to the 1 versus 1. But there's a minute 15 in play.
Yeah, still a lot of time to really play around, which will be rather still problematic for Aussie, given that a plethora of opportunities could arise. But here in comes the Zumi's plan of being stuck out, actually. So Aussie's timer now about to start ticking against her. Full HP and LMG ready to go, locked and loaded. It's all about holding and finding just the right angle and being prepared. And is Aussie prepared to play that, though? She fully assumes that there's presence in the stock, but it's the menace that is much closer.
Oh, Izumi, though, taking some big damage from the toxic canister. And Aussie has rotated above, and missed opportunity there. The toxic canister out the window. Is it going to be enough to deter? It might, actually. This might be enough. Unfortunately, the plant is good for a long angle. Izumi there covering with the big LMG. Shuts it down. Unfortunate for the Aussie. Just reading into the player being in back stock, and it wasn't the case, unfortunately.
Well. Still a job from Izumi, and the LMG did in fact go rather large there for the team and for Izumi herself, doing a really good job, really managing to hit the nail there on the performance. Now, well, basically, if that's the kind of the plan for the job for Volpes, well, they need to replicate that same success for Izumi 6 more times, which sounds relatively easy, but the actual performance is a much more difficult task than it sounds. So
Protect your bombs from
could be a
being
few
destroyed by
bumps
attackers.
across along the road. We'll have to see. But so far, I mean, look, at least they managed to find that stop to a round bleed that so far been committed by Vodafone Warriors, and well, quite possibly this could signal for some changes in the coming few rounds.
Indeed, a possibility on the horizon, but I'm saying that it's already a decent half on a map which is more often than not attacker-sided for the Warriors. And a single round does not spell an equal half
10
either.
seconds
You got to
remaining.
remember that. There's still this and the next to play. I would be
5 seconds
surprised if we didn't see the Warriors pick up at least one more.
Attackers
Will
are
be
moving
quite
out
a
to locate a bomb
surprising
and defuse
turnout
it.
if that ends up being the case. But look, yeah, if Volpes do end up pulling the same kind of aggression and just allowing or opening rather the opportunities for Izumi to just absolutely go, well, her and Jesse Knox as well, to go absolutely ballistic. Look, there will be a few opportunities open there and very much ready to be claimed. But now it's, I mean, we are playing around the barn gaming. It's a very difficult site to take, very claustrophobic. But in saying that, pretty much every nook and cranny is extremely dangerous. I mean, if you try to jump through the double window downstairs, Time for Pi already holds an angle. You try to jump in through the double window up in the library, again, Time for Pi plus Soy playing around that window. You try to jump in just outside of the library, well, you got Wumai of Sav ready to roll. So there's a number of problems that you have to tackle on, and well, the main initial solution would be possibly just literally just entry through the opposite side of the map and just try to take control around there and kind of start kind of wrapping around. Would take control of the bottom floor right under the games. I find that emphasis from there, but I say that, oh
Oh
no,
dear.
that all just spirals out of control.
That is also big damage onto Aussie, who I did
Aussie?
not expect to die to the asphyxiation bolt there. Just stuck in the flames. So it looks like, yeah, unfortunately, Izumi just dumped all 3 bolts into the, or both bolts, sorry, not all 3, but both bolts in behind the bar. Sorry, my lord, I'm just so flummoxed. It was in behind the pool table. KT, though, oh my lord, executed. Just sticking her head out too far. And the call for the knife fight has been thrown down in 1 versus 3. What do you rate the odds of the knife fight?
If Toki nails the the timing on the knife, she could actually really outplay them. It's more so just about waiting and
Bomb
baiting
located
out
by
the actual
attackers.
swing, but it doesn't look like Warriors are looking for a knife fight. Instead, it's looking like it's going to be just a flat-out gunfight with all the positions locked down, and well, for Toki, not a whole lot of chances are being left to really play around, so forced back into, well, the usual gameplay of Siege, but something that is still going to be rather difficult to perform.
Oh boy. There is a lot that could go into this round, of course, and the next. But, I mean, the 1 versus 3 is never an impossibility, especially. Actually, no, I was going to say with Candelas in play, but Toki has committed them all over towards the bar side of the map. Should be a reasonably easy closeout for the Warriors. They have
15
information.
seconds left.
They have players in with 12 seconds remaining, as well as the diffuser control as well. Sav's going to get aggressive, find the closer. 4-1 at the moment, Cthulhu. What do you reckon? 5-1, 4-2.
5-1 is probably one of the more realistic kind of I believe ideas within the matter of this matchup, given that, look, it did go down to just, well, only 2 players' performance from the side of Volpes to swing one of the rounds in their favor, and well, the Vodafone Warriors did kind of end up deciding to just go for a bit of a swing fest. But in saying that, look, 4-2 is still certainly on the table. Volpes could still very much do it. So, again, it's down to the fact just how quickly and how early they scout out all the setups and all the positions, and then what kind of a decision do they make on top of that. And if it's a well-calculated one, look, some vertical play, some vertical presence is certainly needed. I mean, they have all the utility for that, even in their current state. I mean, I would assume that the switch from Blitz of Izumi could be a decent idea, given that the shield plays in general so far has not really worked out to a whole lot of degree. Whereas on the side of Vodafone Warriors, nothing really has changed. And I mean, why would they? All the roles so far have been rather solid from the side of Vodafone Warriors, and each one of them been able to fulfill their position
5
pretty much
seconds.
perfectly.
Well, we head into the last round of the half,
Locate
Cthulhu.
and defuse a bomb.
And Volpes, they did take a couple of rounds to get on the board, but they started to show life after the third. Right now, Izumi, though, on the Blitz is where my focus is going to be.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, I'm definitely curious how will Blitz really come into the swing of things, because Blitz does require you to have a very coordinated push altogether, a very aggressive, very in their face kind of play. And well, so far, Izumi has actually decided to dedicate herself to just flat out pushing the actual side, albeit 1-for-1 trade is not too bad, given that Type Papaya has been a big performer for a number of the occasions.
The only problem being, of course, is that his eyes confirmed on the diffuser. KT takes down Angry Wolf. So they know the diffuser, it was downstairs, and with that player deficit now favoring the Warriors, this could quickly spiral into that 5-1 half that I was talking about. Oh, the pings, Aussie just feeding that info through. So they know that there is this Blitz walking through the pings from above. Izumi is being absolutely hounded by this two-woman powerhouse combo of Aussie and KT. There you go. Cheese falls, and the numbers are just going to quickly spiral further and further down the drain. Izumi isolated. A toxic canister here would surely spell the death of the Blitz.
Oh,
The pistol, though,
you were
is going to
saying?
be enough to execute Sav, but it's a matter of can Aussie get that last toxic canister deep enough to finish off the Blitz?
Yeah, that will be the big question, given that Izumi is quite rather low on HP, but I'm assuming the idea here is just to wait for that crossfire to happen. No, Jesse Knox's jump in, though, through the window does manage to equalize the player count, albeit that Cripsty does get the better of Jesse Knox. It's all down to the Blitz, and now they know that they have managed to lock the position in. The diffuser has been dropped as well on top of it all, and it is not looking rather promising. Still, though, yeah, there we go. The usage of the smoke grenades does come about to try to block some of the sightlines, but it's a full-on rush directly onto side. But I say that, well, it is not actually the side as they would have thought. Volpes now left, or rather Izumi herself being left with a bit of a option. Well, does she just go for the full-on send, or, well, does she try to take some of those gunfights? And it seems like the opt for the gunfights is there, not expecting, though, a very aggressive push. And, well, unfortunately, the read was not there either.
Oh, wow. The worst bit, KT was primed on the door to get the kill. Unfortunately, Soy was in her way, so denied her the possibility. Whose team are you on, Soy? What is going on?
A little bit of a tomfoolery now being committed, but look, still, regardless of that, a 5-1 scoreline does conclude the first half, now leaving Warriors only 2 rounds away from their own victory, which will be, well, if they do it in the matter of 2 rounds, it will be a rather dominating turnout overall, but wouldn't be one of those surprising ones, given just the caliber of the team, the caliber of the players as well. So
Attackers need to locate and defuse
it
as many
is
bombs as they can.
certainly all very much on the board. On the side of Volpes, look, valiant effort is probably the only way to really describe it all. Unfortunately, it was only an effort, and no conclusive results has been achieved within this matchup. But again, look, back to the drawing board, back with yet again another VOD to really look at to, find some learning points in, and maybe going into the next week's match, they might just be able to find themselves at the conclusive point where they do manage to finally get themselves on the board points-wise, given that, once again, look, not a whole lot of expectation was on Volps going into this very matchup, purely for the fact that just the sheer disparity in the positionings of the leaderboard, and so far just how much of a stunning run that Vodafone Warriors had. So still, I
Yeah,
gotta commend
I
them
mean,
on
look,
the effort.
this is kind of what we expected. There's a
Hmm.
reason the Warriors are top of the table, and not to be mean, there is a reason that Volpes are at the bottom. Izumi spotted in car garage. The time for Pi, having opened that wall and forced her to the position, is going to find the kill to follow it up. Truly unfortunate there. The Pulse would have been a big player in defending this
Hmm.
round.
Absolutely, but no, yeah, Izumi not particularly having a fun time either. Really, just getting completely stomped at the very first beginning of the defensive half. Volpes, one would have thought that having their play and having defense go their way would be the kind of the ideal turnout. But the sheer ferocity that Vodafone Warriors are attacking with does certainly bring a lot of inconsistencies and brings out a lot of problems for Volpes setups, and the buck from below from Time for Pi could certainly make things even more difficult.
Certainly, indeed. But I mean, it's not going to be the mad dash. They're not going to force the issue and risk losing out. They want to be smart about it. And angry. Angry. You could be in trouble. There is a nade in play for Ozzy. The pings are there. Jessedox falls. Angry. Come on. You need to move. Oh, that could have been rough. That could have been absolutely brutal. And they do get a kill back on the Soy. But that nade, if it had connected, would have been absolutely gut wrenching.
Devastating indeed it would have been, but fortunately for the Volpes player, that did not really happen. Yet another swing in comes Toki. Had the drop, does drop Crips T to quite a low amount of HP, but not enough to get the down. So it's all down to Angry Wolf and Cheesebender to do the work, but Angry Wolf gets fragged out. It's all down to Cheese in hopes of finding any sort of solution, any sort of closure, and as it stands, it is a difficult time. 7th round achieved, and look, the whole house of cards of Volpes Gaming has so far unfortunately fell apart.
I mean, they took one round off the Chiefs, which is commendable. But unfortunately, it looks like it will be all that is taken away from them as we are on map point here for the Warriors. And it looks like the end of week 5, it will be the Warriors remaining on top, and the Volpes still unfortunately locked in at bottom of the leaderboard.
I mean, even within the Challenger League as well, we've been kind of talking about those matchups, the most difficult ones. Usually, the teams that do get those difficult matchups out of the way in the early stages of the seasons are the ones that have the better chances of being able to get back to ramp up their own momentum. Here for Volpes, unfortunately, they are meeting Vodafone Warriors close to the halfway through, as a matter of fact, the season, and it doesn't really work out a whole lot for them, given that they obviously had to, do all the preparation prior to some of the other teams, and didn't really get a whole lot of time to, focus on the big titans. And look, unfortunately, it's just a number of questions that yet are being left unanswered inside of Vodafone Warriors, though. It's just, clean performance overall, good coordination. It does help that, look, on the solo kind of occasion, the mechanical skill does come in rather big. I mean, you look at Crips T, 11-2, a stellar performance from her and the rest of the team as well. I mean, Time for Pi on the 7-2 as well. So doing a very solid job overall, but in comes possibly the very final round of this Chalet match, and the Warriors definitely would want to wrap it all up right here, right now, although Volpes did manage to show some signs of life and hoping to slow things down, to slow down the round bleed, but unfortunately, apart from that last round, only that was the conclusion.
Match point on the cards in round number 8, of course, and already the Warriors are making quick time of it and looking to cover their bases. They want to get on above, they want to start that vert, they want to clear across over towards the library side of things, and at the moment, they are not wasting much time. Aussie primed on that window, wants to be able to start contesting. We see that there is one over towards the mezzanine. I don't know what the communication is going on here. Why is Time for Pi just sitting there staring at Aussie?
I mean, why not? Do check up that if all the equipment is there and all the, angles are being covered, and Gotta get some face-to-face communication maybe as well. Sometimes could help. Aside from that, Izumi has an interesting plan in her head, but unfortunately, the impact grenade doesn't reveal as much of the position as much as she would have wanted, and instead, well, it scripts T to find her opener onto Angry Wolf.
Indeed, it is. Angry Wolf removed. Was one of the lead fraggers until Jessenok stepped up and got that massive quad kill in the round. The double frost mat, though, for Time for Pie could be her undoing. Reminiscent of Death's Not L moments, but does Time for Pie know that there is an option? Oh, yep. Okay, that's why you put two under the window. Time for Pie down. Do they have anyone that can frag her out? Cheese is on the library stairs down towards the basement, so no. Not going to be her. Doesn't have impact anyway. Yeah, no shots to come, so Time for Pie should be recoverable. Aussie looking to cover that stock door. No, never mind. Jess swings for two. They had it. They had the opportunity. But unfortunately, Volpez are able to capitalize.
Unfortunately for Warriors, very fortunate for Volpez. Certainly doing a really good job, but with 23 seconds remaining, the play for the time could really be big here. As Warriors struggling to find their positioning. I say that though, 3v2 is very much workable as Cheese though gets the better of Sav, and the plant needs to go down very, very soon, and Crips T could really be caught off guard halfway through. No, 7 seconds. It is looking very dire. Looks to be the second point on the hands of Volps off the play of Izumi for the time.
Well, there was one grenade in the lifelike as well. I wonder what it was, because if it was a concussion, it would have made that potentially a little bit more doable. The impact even as well, potentially making that more doable. But no, yes, Volpez will get themselves a second.
Valiant, solid effort. Honestly, slowing that down, slowing that whole approach is huge, really. As well, some form of a maybe frustration could be possibly introduced into the ranks of Warriors, albeit, again, they still have a plentiful buffer for all of the memes and mistakes that could be made, so nothing too major just yet, but still. That sort of turnout is definitely something that needs to be addressed maybe later down the line, but 6-2 scoreline. I mean, for Volpez, that's a good achievement, but obviously they would want to go for further, and so they will. Quite possibly could bring this to an even closer scoreline.
Possibility is well and truly there. But we head down to the basement, which historically has been one of the hardest sites to defend in Rainbow Six Siege since its introduction to competitive. Now the question will be, what can Warriors bring to the table to deny this? And Time for Pie already going to go for that attack repick from the Buck onto the Thatcher. So this garage, this jet ski wall, well, not jet ski, snowmobile. Same, but different. Snowmobile wall, that's the one. One goes on snow, one goes on water. They're both the same liquid. Well, no, so both the same thing, but one's in a liquid state, one's in a solid state. Yes, thank you, Nuttery. It is a snowmobile. Thank you.
Yeah, look, we all have some of those down bad moments, and certainly does come to a much more of a later end of the day for both of us, Panda, as well as I'm sure for both Vodafone Warriors and Volpez as well. But we are about to go in for the full-on send. The breach is incoming, and this is why you ban out Thatcher, because he allows that very, uncontested way of just breaching in, unless you have a dedicated bandit trick player, but those nowadays are quite the rarity.
Snowmobile open, options available. Warriors are making good time of this, and it's still the first minute of play. In fact, KT on the Thermite. What can't she do? Proving to be an incredibly well-rounded player. I mean, that's huge. That's big stuff from them. There is no where my Jaeger in play as well, so we could see a cheeky plant attempt go down. They have rotated Time for Pie over towards Car Garage, though, so they are obviously looking to try and make a play through the wine cellar and go for the punt on this side of the map.
And wine cellar push could be rather as well difficult to perform just in general, given that the sheer amount of angles that could be set up, and that is exactly it. Jesse Knox gets the better of Sav as everything on my table falls apart, but so is possibly the lineup of New Zealand Warriors if they won't be too careful, because Jesse Knox is actually on a colossal ripper. I mean, 9-8 scoreline as well. Certainly
Second most
poses,
frags in the server.
yeah, second most frags in the server. Indeed, yeah, look, certainly putting out quite the numbers, and that is a double for her. Absolutely big, but on rotation, caught off guard. All of a sudden, well, the tables have turned yet again.
That's unlucky for Volpez. That was the best shot they'd had in a while. It's time for Pite. Fuser is recoverable. You got multiple angles being contested. Aussie playing around Trench right now, looking to deal with the shield that was holding from Blue. Time for Pite. They're dangerous, swinging the same angle, but they know that there is a player locked into the corner. This frag grenade could be big. The EMP in. Izumi should be dead here if it connects, but no. It looks like Aussie just missed that opportunity. Another EMP in. I'm not sure what the plan is, but they're looking to try and get into the site. Both of them finished off, and it's on KT, who will take one. Looking for more. She has to know. She has to know that there is one close right, but no. Taki takes the kill and the round. Volpes are holding on, fighting tooth and nail.
Yeah, look, doing a absolutely sensational turnout here. What we thought would be a very quick conclusion initially to the matchup between Warriors and Volpes. It seems like finally the defense seems to be the forte of the Foxes, and certainly they show and prove their cunning skills as well in here. Attack may not have been their best side, but the defense is certainly looking to be a much more comfortable start point here for their reverse sweep. And on the side of Warriors, yeah, look, a number of misplays really comes into mind to possibly make things rather difficult to really try to, well, for them to maybe find a much more serious grasp. Maybe I don't even know what is actually happening in their camp. Maybe a little bit slight bits of tomfoolery. Maybe it's just the fact that they, in their heads, maybe they were about to be all done and dusted, but got caught lacking.
That's what it's feeling like at the moment. A little bit concerning there. You gotta wonder. Just what is slipping here for the Warriors. I mean, 6-1 to a 6-3 is not the end of the world, but it's a slip that you'd rather not risk when you're top of the table. Going into the 10th round, though, Cthulhu, there's still every possibility to get shut out here.
Oh yeah, 110%. There's still every possibility, every opportunity for either of the parties to have a slip up. I am liking, though, this setup, this triple Capcan setup, one to possibly just bait out the idea that it's only a singular Capcan, and then once the swing comes in, well, the double Capcan will be able to at least get the down. So, could be the way to go here. Now, New Zealand Warriors, we were talking about how Volpes were the ones playing a little bit disconnected. Similar kind of case starting to be formed for Warriors as well, given that it's a bit of a, again, disconnected, very much a play for solo, albeit you can see the pings, you can see the communication, so at least there's that really working out for Warriors. It's more so just, oh man, all they did is just need is to hit their shots, and well, at least it's a bit of a trade, but again, all in favor of Volpes, and Angry just activated here.
Time for Pi, unfortunately, just had too far to go to be able to connect the shot to find the second there. But it would have been an impressive flick, to say the very least. And so, watching Trophy right now, waiting for some reinforcements to come through so they can start to deal with the player that is in dining. Feet spotted the drone as well, and it's going to be Sav punching through the table to clean it up and bring it back to a 3 versus 3. And as the position stands, KT on the Solarium Repel. The 3 versus 3 is doable, but Izumi, I have to question the Iron Sights sausage, Cthulhu.
No, this iteration is called the Spud Launcher.
The Spud Launcher.
The Spud Launcher, because it sounds like as if it launches spuds from this very barrel with the sound it produces. But yes, Iron Sights Shogun certainly does involve quite a few question marks, but assumption there is just, well, we're just not intending to use the Iron Sights. It's all hip fire from here on in these kind of engagements.
We reach the final minute here in round number 10. 2 players Solarium windows, 1 pushing Solarium stairs, and they should be free to get themselves into the building. Jesse watching that bedroom door from the office. Katie going to take a bit of damage. Forced off the angle. Should be able to just dance on through. KT spotted, but hits the head. Jesse,
Attackers
Oh.
not going to be the
Oh.
case, but no!
Attackers
They
recovered the
absolutely
diffuser.
eat that EDD, and it's now on Soy. Toki rotating around to try and cover from the breach into office, but Soy, look at that, tucked into the corner. I don't believe the Toxic Canisters, if there were any remaining, would have reached anyway. So Toki has to rotate through SAS on the SAS operator. Soy should have the pre-fire, and she does. The Warriors remain top of the table.
Well, oh, so close, but a phenomenal effort, I have to say, especially on the defense from Volpes Gaming. And look, yeah, 7-3 conclusion does finally find itself here between Vodafone Warriors and Volpes. And look, 3-pointers will be keeping Vodafone Warriors on the top of the leaderboard. Unfortunately for Volpes, no points will be achieved. And yeah, 15-5 from Crips T, just absolutely titanic effort overall, but well done to Volpes as well. I mean, that last round looked only close to the conclusion of it all, looked completely in the hands of Volpes, and it's just only small hiccups here and there that pretty much resulted in the way how it ended, but still, gotta commend them. Well done on the progress.
I mean, it's huge stuff. Volpes, I mean, for a bottom of the table team to look to push a team that is top of the table that deep into a match is rather impressive. We've seen matches be absolute washes in the past, even mid-pack teams just completely wiping each other out. But look, Warriors, for another week, top of the table. Volpes, unfortunately, still struggling at the bottom. There's still a couple of weeks, though, in play. There's still 2 weeks in play. There are still chances for maybe Volpes to get on the board.
Yeah, well, still plenty of chances. Still, well, whilst the chances to get towards the top 4 positions may be dwindling by every week, look, it's still, for them, now currently just the objective is to just get out of the bottom of the leaderboard and then propel themselves from there on, because I reckon they could still very much do this.
Oh, most definitely. And look, it's not the end of the season. There's still potential. Unfortunately, I think that does all but lock out Volpes from playoffs contention. The Warriors, though, sitting pretty. They're going to be having favourable seed going into the playoffs. I mean, they're just looking untouchable.
Absolutely, yeah. Look, the championship team from the last season now going into this one, looking to continue that streak. Quick recap as well of tonight's matches: 7-4 to kick us off. BW Benchwarmers pretty much pulling a phenomenal win out of a basket, playing in a 4v5 fashion. Big Brain Esports versus Radical do have a dub on their hands as well. 3-pointers 7-5. Vertex do get the better of Triara in a rather dominating scoreline, it seems. And well, the conclusion of our night is a 7-3 in favor of Vodafone Warriors. But unfortunately, in this case, the scoreline doesn't really tell the story of the absolutely solid effort that Volpes, especially on the defense, pulled off.
Yeah, big stuff across the day, of course, Cthulhu. That does bring us to the end of week 5, sorry, not week 7, week 5. But it is what it is. This is sort of how you expected things to play. Bar that Benchwarmers match, that one it was a bit of a curveball. We weren't expecting the 4v5 to go the way of the 4 rather than the 5. But on the whole, the rest of it, yeah, this is kind of how we expected the day to play out.
Absolutely. Well, looking at the standings as well, we do get the update now. It's Warriors, Vertex, Big Brain Esports, and Radical Rebels now currently sitting at the top 4 positions. Now, Radical Rebels' position is still very much volatile, and it could still be rather difficult to contest with, and given that Benchwarmers could still run away with that position, say given Triara and Altered Edge, if they do end up scoring themselves 2 flawless weeks, and Radical Rebels not really being able to score any more points, will be able to still now get into the contention as well. For Volpes, though, I believe, unfortunately, well, if they would have won the 3-pointer tonight, they would still have a very slight chance to make it into the top 4, but regardless of that, still, they have the opportunity to maybe climb even to the 5th position, albeit it would still be quite an uphill battle, but regardless of that, still a good amount of, well, conclusions can be brought out from this very match on Chalet, and honestly, yeah, look, a 7-3 against Warriors, not too bad of a scoreline at all.
But the wild thing is, you look at the standings there, I think we have all but one team locked in for playoffs. Warriors, Vertex, and Big Brain Esports. They're good and clear on the points. There's very little chance for them to be knocked out. With 2 weeks remaining, a maximum of 6 points achievable. Benchwarmers are the only team that could conceivably change up the top three.
Absolutely, yeah. Benchwarmers so far, especially after tonight's showcase, they are ready to absolutely just hammer on. And I'm just keen to see now how will they perform after all of these changes. How will they be able to work out as a 5-player core rather than a 4-player core?
Well, it brings us to the end of the week, of course. We've got 2 more remaining before we go to playoffs. We will have, of course, our sponsors to thank for all of this season to come together. They have been an absolute massive help, a godsend, of course. Zowie, Ubisoft, Computer Alliance, and ZQ Racing. Without them, this wouldn't be possible at all, of course. And Cthulhu, coming into the end of week 5, is this sort of where we expect it to be landing?
Look, to a certain degree, yeah. Look, I don't think I've expected the way how the Benchwarmers game would have worked out, but alas, I've been very pleasantly surprised, and overall, this does set us up with a very interesting precedent as to how will this top 3, top 4 position will be contested from going further into the last few weeks.
Now, that does bring us to the end of the week, and you may have noticed a bit of a change-up. If you want to bag yourself some of this, you can get some XP merch as well. Go check things out there, of course. I'm sure we're going to have another drop soon. Alex is not confirming anything, but I know he's got something in the works. Surely, yeah, the maybe is there. But that does bring us to the end of the evening. We will see you back next week, same time, for week number 6. We'll see you then.
Watch me now. Watch me now. Watch me now.
Everybody he's just watching.
I just get it done. Everybody talk. I just get it done.